Hey everyone, welcome back to AI with Pallavi. Ready to learn another AWS service in just 10 minutes? Let's get started. Let's learn Amazon ECS. ECS is a container orchestration service that helps you to keep your containers running without replacing them, and also it can help in load balancing. Now let's look at what this managed service actually gives you. So you can run Docker run and it works great. One line, your container is up and everyone is happy. Now put that same container in front of real users, multiple instances, a load balancer, something that restarts it when it crashes at 2 a.m. without you finding out from an angry Slack message, right? So suddenly that one line isn't enough anymore. The real gap is ECS actually helps you to run these containers reliably in production. How? Let's go ahead and see that. So running a container is easy, but keeping it running is not. So it's difficult to ensure that it keeps on running during production. And here's a question worth sitting with for a second. If you decided to just run Docker on a few EC2 instances yourself, what would you actually be signing up for? So this is the slide which tells you like what you need to do if we do not have ECS, right? So life before ECS. You need to mention and take care of placements, figuring out which instance has room for your container, every single deploy. Health checks and restarts because containers crash and something needs to notice that and fix it. Wiring every container up to your load balancer and taking it back before it actually dies. Or your users can hit a dead target in that case. Then you also need to take care of scaling, like rolling deployments that don't take your whole app down and getting secrets into the container without hard coding a password into your Docker image, which, let's be honest, someone on your team has done at least once. None of that is your product. None of it is what you actually want to build. It's just a tax you pay for running containers reliably, and somebody's got to build all six of these by hand before you ship anything real. But if you have Amazon ECS, right, you can solve all of these. Same six problems, but just watch what happens to them. Placement and scheduling, you just tell ECS I want 4 healthy copies of this running, and it figures out where. Health and restart, built in, automatic, you don't have to worry about it. Your load balancer wiring happens for you. Containers register and deregister on their own, including draining connections properly when one shuts down. Scaling is actually a policy you just set once. So deployments roll out gradually with health checks baked in, and if something is broken, it rolls itself back. And secrets, each task gets its own IAM role and pulls credentials from secret manager at startup. So nothing is actually baked into the image ever. Notice what actually changed here. Your container didn't change at all. What changed is that 6 operational headaches became 6 lines in a config file. That's the whole pitch for ECS in one sentence. And that's how you can get started with Amazon ECS. But let's look at the flow. Let's actually trace a request through this because seeing it at click end to end is worth more than any bullet list. So a user hits your domain, that request lands on your ALB first, and the ALB is just doing target group routing, sending it towards whichever service should handle it. From there, it hits your ECS service, and the service is running a scheduler that's constantly checking, do I have as many healthy tasks as I asked for? So right now it wants two, and it got two, one in each availability zone. So we have configured it multi-AZ. So if one AZ has a bad day, you're still serving the traffic. If you see that dashed orange box around the task, that's your Fargate boundary. Everything in there, AWS is running for you. And notice where the task definition sits, up top, feeding straight into that scheduler. So that's the only thing you actually wrote. Everything downstream of it, the image pulled from ECR, the IAM role scope to that task, reaching out to S3 or DynamoDB, all of that just happens because you described it just once in your template. And running underneath is the whole thing. The CloudWatch capturing logs and metrics from every task which you create without you writing a single line of logging code. So that's how easy to just get started with ECS, and it helps you build your whole container orchestrator at once. Now we should also see where exactly we can use it, right? So let's talk about some of the real use case. The first one is Microservices behind a single ALP. There can be different parts, different services, and one domain itself. So let's say slash orders goes to one place, slash users goes another. Each one scales on its own. You don't have to worry about it because you have scheduled it. So a traffic spike on search doesn't force you to scale your checkout service too. That's the whole point of splitting them up. Second, scheduled and batch jobs. Even bridge fires on a cron schedule, spins up a task, the job runs, it exits, and billing stops. No idle service sitting there between runs, and no 15-minute lambda timeout cutting off a job that needs longer. That is a use case for containers itself, and this is how you can actually orchestrate it. The third, blue-green deployment, right? So if you watch these bars, the old version drains while the new one takes over live traffic. If something is actually wrong with the new version, you roll back instantly. You're not doing a second full deploy while your users actually wait. And fourth, honestly, one of the most common real world use case, lift and shift. So in this case, you've got an old app which is running on a virtual machine somewhere. You slap a Docker file on it, no code changes, push it to ECR, run it as an ECS service. You get managed scaling and deployments without touching a line of application code. So that's how easy to configure it. And these are the major use cases which I think is applicable across different domains and enterprises. But there are certain decisions which you need to make. The three real decisions you'll actually face. So let's just walk through them as well. The first one, do you want to manage the EC2 instances underneath your containers? If the honest answer is no, then you should use Fargate. So no AMI paging, no capacity planning, you pay per task. If you've got GPU workloads in this case, or you have already deep into reserved instances, or you need to pack a ton of tasks tightly onto fewer hosts, that's when EC2 launch type actually makes sense, and you can do that as well. But default to Fargate. Only move off it when something concrete forces you to. The second one, and this one comes up a lot. Do you actually need the Kubernetes API or portability across clouds? If yes, genuinely yes, right? So not just everyone else uses it. So then only go to EKS. But if you're all in on AWS and you don't need that portability, stay on ECS itself. Simpler model, and you're not paying control plane fee for a cluster you don't need in the first place. The third one, can two versions of your apps safely serve traffic at the same time? If your API and your database schema are backward compatible, rolling update is built in. Free, no extra infrastructure. If you've got a breaking change and you need an instant rollback option, that's blue/green through code deploy. It costs you double capacity during the cutover, but it buys you the real safety. So that's when you can use rolling update or blueprint deployments. So this is how the documentation explains ECS as well. There are different layers. You have provisioning, which you can do. Then you have a controller. Then you have capacity options, right? So the controller part is where you write the Amazon ECS scheduler, you write some templates, some configuration, and then you have multiple capacity options. Then one more capacity option is on-premise. So if you want to manage the control plane within AWS while your workers actually sit in on-premise, that is also possible. So that's how you can create your ECS clusters. Now, when you start creating your ECS cluster, there can be multiple tasks which you create, right? So I've stopped these tasks for now, but these are the tasks which you create. You can create some services, you can create some daemon sets. So all these are the configurations which you have within your ECS cluster. So you can also define some namespaces here, task definitions. There is something as express mode as well, which you can use, and all your clusters will be at one place. You can start creating them and start using them. So that's about Amazon ECS. There is a lot more into it, but you can go ahead, try it out. There are a lot of CloudFormation templates also present, which helps you to just get started with ECS, and you can build your first ECS cluster today itself. Go ahead and happy learning. And just like that, you have learned another AWS service in 10 minutes. Hit that subscribe button if you like this video, and comment if you have any questions related to this service, or if there is any service you want me to focus next. Happy learning!